Hello, welcome to Fibertown. This is episode 105. It's April 2nd, 2015. How is everyone? I'm Emily, Chain of Fools on Ravelry, and Fibertown with an R-E on Instagram and on my blog, www.fibertown.blogspot.com. I'm on iTunes, and I'm on YouTube, and I'm on the blog. So that's where I am. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad you're here to chat with me today about all of the stuff. And there's stuff. So let's see. Just sort of introductions first. Then a little bit of businessy things. Then we have FOs, works in progress, spinning and weaving, acquisitions, and then an interview with Donna Druchunas from History Unwound. There are several super special giveaways this episode, so please watch the whole thing and get all the info because you are going to want to enter. Alice is asleep right next to me. And yeah, off we go. Introductions. Random name. Who is Claudia from Germany? That's an awesome Ravatar. She has just started spinning. Let's see. Did she start spinning again? What did I write down in my... Yes, I can't read my own handwriting. She just started spinning again. So she's really... interested in spinning information on podcasts, so I think you might have come to the right one. Then we also have Chachi42, who is Adrian from Illinois. She's an incredibly busy lady. She does all the things, it looks like. And she just got an Ashford Kiwi, so again, spinning, yay. I want to say a super duper thank you to Pam and to Mildred. They made donations, their own, very own, hard-earned money to help with the expenses of running the podcast, and I cannot say thank you enough. As I said last time, the donate button is on the blog, and you are under absolutely no obligation to do so, but if you feel inclined, it is very much appreciated and goes to good use. In fact, part of the donations went to getting some swag to give out to viewers at Maryland Sheep and Wool. I'm very excited to be able to do a little something special. So stay tuned for more about that. Okay, the March finished object thread is closed, and there were between 2 and 249 entries. Number 78 is the winner, and that's Penelope 10. So contact me, you get a pattern of your choosing on Ravelry up to $7. Let me know what you want, Penelope 10. Next, the next 3 months, FO's threads. 3 months are not going to have specific items as criteria. You can post any FO at all, whatever you want. However, for the next 3 months, I'm participating with the Pen, Hook, and Needles podcast and Undead Yarn podcast, and there's another one on Nicolo's World. Pen, Hook, and Needles ladies are the ones who spearhead this, and they asked me again, and I was delighted to play along. Just to increase autism awareness. April is Autism Awareness Month, but they're extending it. So the criteria for my podcast, and go ahead and check out those other podcasts, enter your items there. Their rules are probably slightly different, but I want to keep my FO thread going. Enter any FO, but if you have an FO that is, say, 75% or more brightly colored, so keep your neutrals in it to a minimum, then you get to enter it twice. Okay, it goes for spinning, weaving, knitting, crocheting, okay? It's going to be lots of fun. We're going to have actual physical prizes for most of the months. I showed, here, let me show it again. One of the months will be Poodle Skirt, self-striping from Desert Vista Dye Works. Thank you, Fairy Fiber Mother, for donating that. And yeah, so a prize each month. Okay, what else? Okay, another giveaway. The Jones Street Copper Corgi yarn. Copper Corgi. Okay, I really had to think about how to do this because it's such a special giveaway. There's a sweater quantity of this colorway, emerald. And I will put it again, it's on Instagram, a better color representation, although that's pretty good. Jones Street Sport. Sarah has this custom milled. It is superfine merino, 60%, 30% alpaca, and 10% silk. 350 yards times 5. That's a lot, right? That's 1,500 plus yards, is that right? Don't ask me to do math while I'm doing podcasting. Doesn't work. But something, it's enough for a sweater for everybody, okay? And the Carolina Fiber Girls are hosting a Jones Street Knit Along. And they have a thread on, so there's Janice and Ann, Carolina Fiber Girls. They have a thread on their group. Go and check it out. Go ahead and listen to their awesome podcast. They're doing this knit along, and they have a thread, as I was saying, ramble. I can't think straight when I have this yarn in front of me. They have a thread where they have a lot of pattern ideas for this. So how do you win it? I can't keep it. I have to give it away. So the way you win it is you can do one of 3 things, and I will outline this all in a thread on the Rav board, Fibertown podcast, okay? Number 1, go and visit Copper Corgi. Where did I put the card? Go and visit Copper Corgi and tell me what your favorite yarn, colorway, or base in her store is. Number 2, tell me what you would knit out of it. Because it would be great if the person who wins this knits along with me and the Carolina Fiber Girls. Oh, so beautiful. Number 3, since it is green, and we need green because it's been such a slow to come spring, post a picture of something beautiful that is green. Okay? So tell me your favorite Copper Corgi yarn or colorway. Post a picture of something green, or link to the pattern that you would knit out of this. It doesn't have to be a sweater. It could be anything. It's amazing stuff. Okay, let me put this down. So check out the thread. Now, the other giveaway I mentioned has to do with the interview with Donna Druchunas. She is running sort of a Kickstarter thing. I have all the information here about it. But closer to her interview, I'll give you more information about that. But she is doing a giveaway also. So stay tuned till right before the interview, and we'll talk about it. Okay. FOs. I have... Is Alice sleeping on my other baby sock? Here it is. No, she's not. Okay, these are so cute. These are they're called baby socks. That's the pattern name. It's by Bianca Boonstra, which is fun to say. And would also make a great name for a band. Okay, here they are. Can you just, so cute. Can you imagine? It's so hard to imagine when I have these children whose feet grow, like every 2 months I buy new shoes. It's crazy. For my son especially. They're so adorable. I am sending these off in the mail to the mama-to-be. And these are knit out of Unwind Yarn Company. And let's see, that's the Unchained Melody colorway and the Honeymoon sock base, which is completely wool, superwash wool. And this is a very thin base, and it reminds me a wee bit of like Woolmiza. It knits up with the best hand, everybody. Okay, highly recommend this yarn. It gets better and better like along the process. The knitting is great, and then you wash it, and it's just so nice. It's smooth but squishy, and I really adore these, the sock pattern. I've knit a bunch of these. It's a free pattern. You cast on 40 on like a typical sock needle. You don't, I know babies aren't going to walk on them, but you use pretty much the same gauge as for an adult sock. You do 2x2 ribbing for 40 rows, so you get this very long ribbed cuff. Really helps it stay on. And I did a traditional heel flap and gusset, not my bottom of the foot gusset. And yeah, they're adorable. They're lovely. So what else do I have? Oh, this is not something that I knit, but my husband. My husband knit a hat. Needs its ends cut off. This is out of tacky Donical tweed. Isn't that nice? My husband Jaime knit this hat, and there were a few drop stitches like way at the bottom that I had to tack down, but it fits him, and it's a hat. It fits me. It's kind of big on me, but it's a little slouchy. Oh gosh, did I bring the other? Yes, I did. He got new yarn. I'll show you in acquisitions. So I very much like this, and I think I'll wear it because my hair is pretty bad today. Okay, works in progress. Works in progress. My cute little Namaste pouch, wherein abide my barn raising quilt squares. Got another one on the needles. And I think I need to start doing these on magic loop because maybe I'll mess up less. Sometimes the simplest things are the hardest to knit. This is Mode Knit yarn. It's yarn by Annie Modisette. And this was a sample from History Unwound. Very, very pretty. I think I messed it up again. I'll look at that later. At least I've got one on the needles again. Okay, what else? I have a swatch from my Jones Street yarn. This is my Jones Street yarn. It's the Fig colorway. It's stunning. And I swatched flat, and then I was like, I'm going to swatch in the round. So I'm just filling up a 16-inch needle. And I'm not swatching for gauge so much as I am for which needle do I like the best for the fabric. And I still don't know what I'm going to be knitting. But I figured I really hate swatching back and forth. And I was thinking, well, maybe I'll like it better if I'm knitting in the round. So here I go. And I'm doing garter stitch in the beginning, and so it doesn't curl too much, rather than knit a round, purl around, I'm doing like a short row thing where I wrap a stitch and then turn the work around and go knit back the other way. So I'm just knitting. And then eventually I'll switch to stockinette, and I'll just still be knitting. So it's really nice stuff. I think it might become an Old Town. That was a nice sweater to knit. I think, though, it's by Carol Sunday. I do think that if I knit it again, I may change the lace pattern on the edge, if that doesn't take too much brain power. The construction is different, so it might be beyond my brain power to change the lace pattern. We'll see. I would love to do it with a feather and fan edging. Okay, swatching on that. And then we have my new sock project. I took this bag from my daughter. Isn't it cute? It's from a Danish friend, and it's a Danish maid, and I just love it. She doesn't use it. And we rode our bikes today we did like a 4 or 5 mile bike ride, and there was a playground at the end of the bike ride. So I was like, I'll take this, and I just hooked it on the handlebars. It was perfect for that. And I knit once we got to the playground. I am knitting monkey socks. To be specific, no purl monkey socks. And monkey socks are by Cookie A, and the modification was thought up by Crafty Pancakes, according to the Ravelry. And the no purl monkeys are just the monkey pattern, which is free on Knitty. And the only difference is you knit the pearls instead of purling the pearls. And this is Soft Kitty by Fiber Nymph. It is a self-striping, and it's much more purpley than it is in real life. This is very gray. I love this. I love the Fiber Nymph yarn. I gotta knit with it more often. I have one more skein after this. It wears really well. It feels great to knit, and I'm loving it. I'm loving knitting the monkey pattern. It's really fun. I started this 2 days ago. This is fast knitting for me, fast sock knitting. So I think I'm going to do the double gusset heel by Turtle Girl 76. See how I like it. She's the one who introduced me to my current favorite heel, my all-time favorite heel, the riverbed gusset under the foot. And the double gusset is under the foot as well, but it's a double gusset. So you do decreases in 2 different places. Anyway, I just discovered I messed something up in this. So I need to tink a bit, but it's very easy, especially to do the no purl. It's really addictive. And I stand by the fact that I can knit a pattern sock much faster than a vanilla sock because I just get bored and I put it down if it's vanilla. I just don't want to do it. So it seems that this year I've been knitting a pair of socks a month. So yay me. I think what helped is that in January, I think I finished a pair like January 2nd. But I'm counting it as a pair a month. So I'm going to get this done. And if you count the baby socks, I did 2 pairs in March. These are April. What else do I have? Let's see, just one more thing. I have my sock yarn blanket. Okay. What has been going on this week? I hear jingling. Okay. This was an acquisition this week. This is Miss Babs. I'll show you the ball band later. It's the Joan of Arc colorway. Okay, there's this one. Very pretty. I think this is from J. Banducci. There's some hand spun gourmet stash. This is my current square, and it's being done out of some really terrible hand spun. Look at that. This was the Knit Girls colorway with Cloud Lover. It was Haunted Vineyard a few years ago. It was Polworth. I don't know why, but I screwed that stuff up. It was one of the biggest spinning fails I've ever had. And in fact, this was the best. This was like a little bit at the end that I chain plied. Anyway, I'm putting the memory in my blanket, hoping for the best. Let's see what else. This is Unchained Melody, what I knit the baby socks from. And, oh, this is a plant dyed yarn from Connecticut, from Swensty, Fiber Trek podcaster extraordinaire. And this one is a little knit pick sample. Is that all? Doesn't seem like a lot. Anyway, I haven't touched it yet today. It's a shocker. I've usually done my square by now, but as I said, bike ride, grocery shopping. Took my boy out for some Japanese food for lunch. Okay. What is next, Alice? Alice is still down here. She has not. Open that eye. There we go. Such a good girl. Hey. Spring break. Do you want to show your knitting? Well, you don't have to stay for a long time. You can just come in and show us in a minute. Go get it. It's on the table behind the couch. Oliver is knitting. And he wants to show you all his hat. Let's move this fiber so you can stand here. Ready? You can stand right here. You can pop yourself right in front of me. Right here. There we go. So, hi. Say hi.
Hi.
This is my honey. All right, show. Let's show what you got so far. Tell about it. Hold it up. Look over here so they can see. There we go. What is it?
A hat.
Look at that. And you want to show how fast you can knit? Here's the yarn. It is a French yarn. I can't remember. I think it's Mercredi et Compagnie. And it's the base Rios. I think it's a wool acrylic blend, and it's a fat single with a thin thread applied around it. And it's a gradient. It goes from all these charcoals and blacks and whites. Hold it up so they can see you knit. Show us how you knit.
What?
Nothing. Is that all?
Yes, I guess.
He's a pretty fast knitter. Doesn't have much to say today. You say goodbye at least.
Bye.
Take your yarn. All right.
Bye-bye, Alice.
Yeah, there's your girl. Leave her be. Aw, you woke her up. Okay, so next we have spinning and weaving. And let's see. I have this hobbledehoy orange glad batlings, merino bamboo, soy silk, and sparkle. I got 110 yards out of 2 ounces. It's pretty chunky, but again, it's only 2 ounces. And oh my gosh, I did a true 3-ply. Oh, this is so much fun. I think these would make great mitts, fingerless mitts. I need a new pair of reading in bed mitts when it's cold. I have some out of my first fiber optic that I spun, which was not a gradient, and I lost one of them. They're still in great shape. I knit them 3 or 4 years ago, and they're in my bedside table, and I think this might be my replacement because it just makes me smile. Sparkles, and it's lovely. So, it's going in the hand spun stash. The fun thing about spinning is that it's like stash acquisition when you're done, you know? It's like you got a new yarn. So there's that. I am weaving. I have, the warp and the weft are both things that were yarns that were gifted to me years back, I think from my friend Angie. And they've just been knocking around my stash, and they need a purpose, they need a job. And this is a very kind of sedate and calm weaving project compared to what I usually do. So I don't have the warp to show you, but this is the weft. And it's Lorna's Laces Lion and Lamb. It's a single. It's super shiny. It's merino silk. And it's not showing up quite right here. It's not as hot pink. But it's a mauve and a lavender and a mauvey silver and a brown. So that is, let's see if I have, no, I don't have it with me. I think the other one is a bamboo wool blend, the warp, and it's like no, I don't even know what it is. It's something. And it kind of matches the pink. Now, what other spinning do I have? Okay. I thinking about Maryland sheep and wool a lot. This is my pound of Rambouillet from Reflections at Rocklands. I've had this since Shenandoah, and I have not spun any of it until this week. I would love to have this all done and spun in a month. I know. I don't know if it's possible, but I may be able to get an idea if I need to hit her booth again at Maryland for more. So I spun 1 ounce. It took me 2 days because I'm spinning it super fine. Rambouillet, it needs to be finely spun for this project I have in mind. I would love to make this into a garment. And it blooms and poofs and sponges, like soaks up air like a sponge soaks up water, and it gets, where are you going? Anyway, gets big. So I want to do a very fine 3-ply. And I'm putting my tension band on the smaller groove instead of this bigger one. So I'm getting a nice thin single. Let me see if I can unwind it and show you. Yeah, really nice. So there's 1 ounce. Now, if I were going to be a good spinner, like an excellent, like, let's follow the rules spinner, I would spin it all the singles, and then ply them all. No. I don't want to wind these off onto storage bobbins. That takes forever. I have a month. So I'm going to spin 3 and ply 3. And then I figure, at least for the beginning, then I figure I can estimate my total finished yardage for the rest of the wool. And then maybe I don't have to spin it all by May. Okay, so that's spinning, except for what's on spindles. And I'm going to show you what's on spindles and acquisitions because they all concern acquisitions. So here we go into acquisitions. Feederbrook Fibers. I have some things from them. And that is because I went to the Uniquities Fiber Farmers Market last weekend. And that is in the Vienna, Virginia Community Center. Uniquities is a yarn store in Vienna, and they put this on twice a year. So I packed up my kiddos. They wanted to come with. Who am I to say no? And I got a few things. I'm very excited about, well, I'll show you this one later because I already mentioned Feederbrook. She's really got a cool store. She's got a lot of unusual, rare breeds. She has a fiber CSA. So I think she's based in Maryland, yeah. It's feederbrook.com. That is a Maryland area code. And this is Manxlofton. Manxlofton. That's how you spell it. So I believe that's how you spell it. All of her braids that were undyed were $10 for 4 ounces. So I got this one, and I got Black Welsh. Those are 2 breeds I have never spun. And I plan to get some Cheviot from Ross Farm and spin that and make something with those 3 colors together. Okay. And I also picked up this, I hope I have the lady's card. I got another Fiber card. If anyone wants me to find out who this vendor is, let me know. I know she doesn't have a web presence, but you could call her. I got a penannular brooch made out of copper. Isn't that pretty? It's got a little like industrial accent on there. I wouldn't call it steampunk, but industrial. So I have a silver one with a very Celtic look, and now I have this coppery one. These are just so great for scarves and sweaters to do closure. I love them. So I got that, I got the fibers, and then I got a jar of pickled watermelon rind. Do you know what that is? It is what it says it is. It's watermelon rind, like the white part that nobody eats, and it's pickled. Like in the American style of a sweet and sour pickle. It is delicious to some people, myself included. It's a very southern thing, I believe, and you eat it with like Thanksgiving turkey. Our Thanksgiving table always has pickled watermelon rind, and it's really excellent with ham. That's all I've tried it with, but I highly recommend. It's like in Italy, northern Italy, they have mostardas, which is basically pickled fruit to eat with meat. So that was fun. Acquisitions there at the Fiber Farmers Market. And we went to Fiber Space because we were on spring break. My kids go to 2 different schools. Their spring breaks do not coincide, but that's okay. So I've not been alone in a long time. So we went to Fiber Space, my husband and my daughter and I. And let's see. I got, where did it go? Uh-oh. I'll show you the ball band. I got Miss Babs Yummy 2-ply toes. It's just a mini skein, but it's about 50 grams. Is that right? It's a little over an ounce. No, it's not 50 grams. It was plenty of grams for lots of squares in all of the blankets, and all of the scrap blankets. So, the Joan of Arc colorway, I thought I put it in here. Bad podcasting this week, people. My internet went out yesterday. I would have podcasted yesterday, but I had no way to upload it. Here it is. So I was very organized, and then boom, the internet died, and yeah, now I'm not organized. Joan of Arc. So pretty. So I got that. And I got, well, my husband got this. And this is a sort of a grayish brown. It's looking a little purple. This is Periwinkle Sheep. Cobblestone colorway. Merino Aaron. He wants to make a cowl for himself. This is nice and squishy. So I think it's just going to be a very basic, we're going to cast on a very basic cowl. And what else? I got this. Hardly ever get the summer editions, but I really liked my summer top last year. I got a lot of wear out of it. And there's one in here that I really, really like. Now, it's called the Second Story Tee. And it looks quite flattering and fun to knit. And it's the Fiber Space Spring Knit Along. There it is. Asymmetrical, looks fun. I think it's just knit in 2 pieces, and the cap sleeves are sort of automatic. You knit them as you go. Uh-oh. My phone. Hang on a sec. Hey, babe, I'm podcasting. Can I call you back? Okay, drive carefully. Bye. That's my daughter. Okay. All right, spinning acquisitions. Now, I've said before that I am not a great fan of the Turkish spindle. That might still be true, but I've been having fun with this little turtle maid. And here she is. Now, I had given some advice that this would be a great spindle to take on an airplane, because you could use it supported, you know. And it's very little investment risk. $15 for this little guy. It's not breakable. It's made on a 3D printer, so it's plastic. I got mine in purple. And it spins like the dickens. I'm kind of liking it. So I figured, $15, you know, if I hate it, no big deal. I'll have something that I can take for spinning on a plane. And, yeah, got some nice Gourmet Stash fiber on here. And, of course, I just broke the thing. But anyway, it's kind of fun. Look at the bottom. I kind of might want a standard size. So there's an acquisition. And I had ordered that a few weeks ago, but hadn't gotten a chance to show you. The other acquisition has to do with spinning, and it was just something I had to have. The time for this was way overdue, and when I saw it, I was like, where have you been all my life? It is a portable spindle, Lazy Kate, made by the Spanish Peacock. These, see how it's adjustable here? In fact, it's not quite long enough for my bead whirl. I need to move these a little to the middle grooves here. It's made on their laser cutter. See, it has designs like seagulls on the side and ocean waves in the middle. So yeah, you can ply right off here. How cool is that? And I have been doing a little spinning, especially on the Guinness one on my Russian. But very cool. And these are collapsible. These come out, you can lay them flat, travel with them. They're coming to Spain with me because I spindle a lot when I travel. Okie dokie. That's it for acquisitions. That might be it. So, the Donna Druchunas interview. It was so much fun to talk to her. She's amazing. Has an amazing breadth of knowledge, and she does these Stories and Stitches books, which are truly like treasures. They are truly like treasures. She has, I believe, 4 out. She's a knitwear designer. She's, I would say, like a bit of a fiber anthropologist. She has Lithuanian roots and is very well versed in Lithuanian knitting, and she travels there, and she's pretty amazing. So I got to talk to her at History Unwound in Williamsburg, and she is doing, oh, I said I had all the information. I'm going to give it to you now. She did, I believe, some talks on Lithuanian sock knitting, and she has a craftsy class. She is like Renaissance woman. She also sells kits with yarn and patterns for amazing socks and mittens and so forth. Here we are. Okay, so she's offering as a prize one of her knitting DVDs that she has made. It's called Knitting Lithuanian Socks. It's a $35 value, and they're beautiful. I actually got to touch some of those socks. They're amazing. And what she's doing is she has a pub slush fund. She's trying to raise some money, and it's for, let's see. She's here to raise money she needs to print a high-quality hardcover book that celebrates the knitting traditions of Lithuania, the country of my family origins. She wants to print her book in Lithuania to support the local economy. So yeah, she's looking for funds to publish this book. And she has a video on there. She has a goal. Basically, what you need to do is visit her page. Okay, you need to visit this Pub Slush page, and I will link to it in the show notes. And then come back and tell me something that struck you. She has a lot of projects here. Something that struck you from that page. Something you learned, something you liked. She's got lots of pictures. She's got a video that you can watch. So you don't have to donate anything. Just go and visit the page, okay? And then come and tell me about it in the thread on Ravelry. And if you do that, you'll be entered to win a copy of that DVD, which is super cool of Donna to do. So I hope you very much enjoy this interview with Donna Druchunas. And I was able to ask her some questions that you all had sent in. So enjoy all the more. Next week, I will have interviews with Roan Strong and Anna Zilborg. Okay? So enjoy, and you all take care. Till next week. Bye-bye.
Change my shirt. I want to do the bottoms.
Yeah.
So thanks for talking to me. Do you want to start talking about
I don't care.
Well, we should talk about what your latest project is, maybe. And just to say, thanks again. Tell me how to pronounce your last name. Donna Druchunas. Okay. I hear it a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Well, my family says it a lot of different ways too. So two main ways: Druchunas and Druchunas.
Druchunas.
So.
It's
Lithuanian.
Lithuanian. Excellent.
So since we can't agree, I don't expect anyone else to know how to say it.
I think Lithuania is where Brittany gets their birch for their needles from now.
Oh, cool.
Just hearing about that.
I need to talk to them.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
I could be wrong, but I think it's Lithuania.
Well, there's a lot of forests in Lithuania.
Right. Have you ever been there?
Yes, I go all the time, as much as I can. So after my first trip, I went only for a week. And just to do the tourist thing. Right. And it rained the whole time, so I couldn't do all the things I want. So I've been back almost every year since then.
Excellent. Wow. So do you have family still that's there, or?
No. Well, probably. But my family came to the U.S. 100 years ago, like the beginning of the 20th century.
Okay.
Yeah, so we haven't kept in touch. But my last name is in the phone book there.
Wow. Well, show us what you have. You have something new coming out, and you have these amazing Stories and Stitches books. I was looking through them, so tell me about that.
Well, I'm on a self-publishing adventure right now, and I've never done that before. All my other books have been with different publishers, which has been great. But I wanted to do some things that were a little bit off-kilter or a little bit, out of the norm, and I noticed that so many of the great books that were coming out by other authors were self-published. So I have this new series called Stories and Stitches. And we made a box set. Isn't the box pretty?
Beautiful.
I was so happy with how the box came out.
Yes.
And there's 4 books in there, and they're also, separate. But we did them over a couple years, and they're all about knitting from around the world. this series is around the world. So we've got things like counterpanes that we found in the flea market in Geneva, and the one from the White House that Grace Coolidge knit. Yeah, and someone actually brought squares from that here to History Unwound that they had made by a family member, and one of the pieces was still partially knit and unfinished. It was so amazing to see, and she was looking for the pattern, and we had
And it was right there. It was the very same pattern.
And then I have things about my family stories. One of the books is about World War I and World War II, and I talk about what if my family, kind of think back, what if my family hadn't come to the U.S. 100 years ago, and they were over there. And what if they made this pair of socks that I saw in a museum and things like that. So we have all different kind of things in them, and it's really fun. And we wanted to just, you know, the stories of knitting, that's what I love about it. I mean, I love doing the knitting. I love making beautiful things. But when I look at these old knitted things, it's like I have a connection to this person that I never would be able to meet.
Right.
It's like when you read, it's the same thing I feel when I read something that was written by someone far away or a long time ago. It's like you can connect to that person.
And their hands have touched it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's really so powerful. And then thinking that the things that we make are going to be that way for you know, people in the future.
Do you have something that just as a thought that came to mind, a piece that you've made that you think will be the heirloom piece, your sort of, what's a good word, your legacy piece?
Well, you never know, because I don't know what I'll do in the future. But right now, I did this pie shawl last year.
Okay.
That's in Stories and Stitches book 2, and it's used stitches by Dorothy Reed, who's someone I'm really interested in, and I've written her biography and she's part of her stories in that book with the pattern for this pie shawl that I made up, and all the lace stitches in it were designed by Dorothy Reed, and I put them together, and it was just so popular. And you know, now I'm kind of known for being a pie shawl designer, and I had just done that as a spur of the moment because I had found this beautiful yarn from String Theory in Maine, and it had an array of colors that I wanted to use in a transition.
So like a gradient?
Yeah, gradient, but it wasn't designed that way. They just happened to be beautiful to me that way. Yeah, and it turned into this pie shawl that just like went kind of viral.
What's the name of it?
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon.
Yeah,
okay.
I called it Event Horizon because the border's black.
Okay.
And it reminded me of a black hole, and you know, once you fall inside it, you're stuck.
I like it. Okay.
So yeah, so that was really fun, and I've done several more pie shawls since then.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, so what about well, actually, if you wouldn't mind, I have a question from Heather, who lives in Lowell, Mass.
Hi, Heather.
And she used to work for Colonial Williamsburg.
Oh, cool.
And so she has a lot of inside knowledge about decorative arts here and some of the textiles and the folk art. And she thought that you should maybe see the Spittler chest. Have you heard of the Spittler chest?
I have not heard of the Spittler chest.
Okay, and some of maybe what do you think of some of the folk art motifs? I know even in the hotel, the bedspreads, and does that ever? I know, maybe what are you inspired by in the Lithuanian knitting? That's
it's interesting that you said that. So 2 things. First, my car died while I'm here, so I get to stay an extra day or 2. And I can walk from here to Colonial Williamsburg, and I've never been there before, so that's amazing. Best place in the world to get stuck. So I'm going to go check that out now. But yeah, the bedspreads, I noticed the ones even in the hotel room, and I saw some in gift shops. They really reminded me of Lithuanian weaving. And what was fascinating is that in Lithuania, knitting came really late, 18th to 19th century probably. And a lot of the motifs that are used were taken from weaving and then put into knitting. And so, yeah, I think that probably happened a lot of places because weaving was done for a lot longer than knitting's been done. Yeah. And they're both geometric and have a grid, and it's relatively easy to adapt weaving motifs into knitting. So yeah, that's really fascinating. I love folk art.
This reminds me of like a carpet design almost.
Yeah,
you know, like you might could be inspired from.
Right, and this is a Lithuanian.
Can you hold it up? I'm not sure.
So this is a traditional Lithuanian knitting motif, and it's on a DVD that I have.
This one right here?
Yeah, Knitting Lithuanian Socks. I did that with Interweave. It's kind of a preview for a book that
that's coming.
Working on. Yeah, I've been working on the book for 7 years. But they're not afraid of knitting with 3 colors in Lithuania.
Okay.
So but we are kind of.
So 3 colors in one row.
This has 3 colors in a row, but I decided to do it with duplicate stitch.
Okay, makes sense.
Because you can.
Yeah.
And if you want to knit with 3 colors in a row, you can, but otherwise you could do it with duplicate stitch. And I talk about that in the DVD too. Beautiful. And these other ones are, so the DVD has all these patterns, but you can see how some of these would have been a weaving motif and then adapted into knitting. And yeah, so I've been going to Lithuania all this time, and what started me there is my family is half Lithuanian, my dad's family is Lithuanian, and you know, Nancy Bush has all this stuff about Estonian knitting, and then there's a couple books out about Latvian knitting, and it got me thinking, there's got to be knitting in Lithuania because those 3 countries are all neighbors. But I couldn't find anything on the internet or anywhere when I started looking. And so I started going to museums, and there is a lot of knitting there. It's just nothing that's been written about and published in the English language so far.
So you're filling in a hole.
So I'm working on that book. I've been working on it for 7 years in between other things, and you don't work on it every day for 7 years. Right. So one reason it took longer is I decided I had to go to Vilnius to do my photo shoot. So then I had to plan that trip, and that was 6 months, you know. So the photos and most of the projects were taken in the city of Vilnius with scenery and beautiful architecture and things in the background.
I can't wait to see the book. When do you think it's going to be ready?
So it is so close. I'm so excited because we're just putting to the last touches in, like the index and the table of contents now, and getting ready to send it to the printer. And I'm doing a pub slush campaign, which is like Kickstarter but only for books.
Okay.
And I want to raise money to be able to get it printed in Lithuania. I had a Lithuanian art director work on it, so we want it to be a really Eastern European style book. And the books that I've bought there, art books and knitting books and things, they use a different kind of paper than we do at ours, and the design just has a different flair. So I've got the design because my art director's there, and I really want to have it printed there, just to support the businesses there, also the printers and So my campaign's going live in April. So I can give you the link for that if you have show notes or something. You can put it on there.
We'll definitely do that.
That would be great. And I was thinking that we could do like a little drawing, and people who fan the page for the Pub Slush campaign, we could do a drawing and they could win a copy of the DVD, which has me talking about, my initial experiences, and it's got some really great photos and stories about that. Fabulous. So it's kind of like a teaser for the book, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that comes with those 3 beautiful sock patterns.
Right. And then the book has socks, mittens, gloves, and wrist warmers. And that's mostly what they knit in Lithuania. Now people knit everything. When I go there, I see the same Ravelry things, popular. It's really fun because you can meet knitters from around the world, and you go places and say, oh, look, you have on the Clapotis or whatever, that you saw in New York or Vermont.
So would you say it's a varied knitting community now in Lithuania? Like all ages of people?
Oh, all ages,
well, that's great,
young people are really, it's really cold there. Yeah. So people knit. Once the summer ends, the street becomes like a virtual fashion show of knitting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I've gone to knit teas at the yarn. There's one yarn shop I love especially called Mezgimo Zona, which is the knitting zone, and it's in Vilnius.
How do you say knitting in Lithuanian?
Mezgimas.
Mezgimas.
And that is the act of knitting.
Okay.
Mezginis, which is something I had to learn when there, is the knitting like a pile of sweaters, knitted objects, mezginis. So yeah, that was something I had to ask.
Yeah.
What's the difference between these 2 words? And that word first started appearing in dictionaries in the 16th or 17th century. Okay. So knitting was known then, but there's no pieces in museums. So we don't know if they were seeing knitting from other places or when people actually started doing it.
And what's the wool like there? Is there an industry, or what kind of shape do you see?
Well, I just ordered a bunch of Lithuanian wool for some classes and workshops I'm doing. And the yarn that's made there with the Lithuanian sheep is kind of coarse. So it reminds me of yarn that maybe like the county that you get from Estonia, or some of the Norwegian wools.
I love those.
Yeah. They're not merino though.
That's all right.
They're really great for Fair Isle and for things that they fluff and color work, and they stick. If you want to do something that's steeking, you don't have to worry that it's going to unravel. Yeah. So they have a few breeds of sheep there, and they're rare breeds because during Soviet times the Russians wanted sheep to be raised elsewhere, and not pigs were raised in Lithuania. You know, all the collective farming, things got all messed up. So now they have rare breeds, and they have the coarse wool. And for a while, it was almost impossible to find yarn made from it because the mills, there are some mills in Lithuania, but they were importing merino from New Zealand. And on one of my early trips, we were shown a barn that was full of the local yarn from the local sheep, just in piles rotting away. But since then, they've started, a couple of the companies have started doing lines with the local wool.
Fabulous.
So that's really great.
That sounds like a future venture for you.
I wanted to, you know, I really been wanting to do it because I was like, if no one did it, it was one of those things, if no one does it, I'm going to have to eventually do it because this needs to be done. People need to, you know, we want to preserve the rare breeds and, you know, knitters in, we're just crazy for new kinds of yarn and try a different breed and, you know, it's really important and fun. And I noticed you're wearing a sweater made out of probably different breeds of
This
wool.
is actually a Jacob fleece.
Oh, that's all from one sheep.
All from one sheep.
That's fantastic.
I bought this fleece last year at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and my viewers have seen this.
Well, I love it. And so you spun that too.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it's lightweight. You know, I really prefer more of a medium wool. I love soft wools, but I'm disappointed in the outcome.
I like what I call them woolly wools.
Woolly
that
wools,
feels like
yes,
wool.
with tooth and sturdiness to it. So, so yeah, this was a sheep named Meredy.
That's
she
so
was
great.
grown in New Jersey, and I just processed the colors all separately because she's a Jacob and had, you know, she had bits where the colors met. She had white. She had this amazing dark chocolatey brown, and I couldn't stop knitting it. I knit it.
Great.
It's the fastest sweater I ever knit.
I've been thinking about making that pattern. So.
I couldn't put it down.
Really
it was really fun. So, and you can do all sorts of different colors, but
I've been having hot flashes, so I'm not wearing knitting.
Yeah.
I should have worn what I had on yesterday because I had on my new knitty sweater, which is made out of linen.
Ooh, nice.
Because it's
I
something
love
you can wear with
knitting
hot
summer
flashes.
sweaters. Yes, you know, this is like a coat for me. So, well, tell me about your craftsy class, real.
Oh yeah,
Because
so
I noticed you had
I love craftsy.
too.
I'm sitting here talking to the camera, and I never thought I would do video because I'm really a book person, and I always had this resistance to video. And then I got invited to do a sock class on craftsy when they were really new, because I knew Stephanie Chappell from other things online.
Right.
So, you know, a lot of you might have known me from Twitter and Facebook. I hang out online a lot, and so I did this class on craftsy, and it was so much fun. And I've been wanting to do a new one for a long time.
Good.
So a few months ago, and it just came live in February. I was in Denver a few months ago, and I did a Fair Isle class.
Nice.
It's called Next Steps in Fair Isle Mitten and Hat, so that's not really creative, but it tells you what's in the class. Right?
Is it an intermediate level?
It's an intermediate level class, and the hat and mittens have corrugated ribbing, a Baltic braid trim, and motifs that have long floats. So you learn how to deal with not just knitting two colors. I show how to knit with one in each hand because that's the technique I use. And then how to catch your floats and keep your tension even and things when you're working with patterns that are more complicated than maybe like a beginner checker pattern or something.
Right. My stranded knitting is it needs work. It's always puckery.
Well, I was talking to someone about that yesterday because sometimes mine is puckery when I knit it a little bit, even though I'm teaching a class on this and whatnot. Sometimes some of the things need some blocking or even steam pressing.
Okay.
And some of my things come out perfect. And I think it's just, if you get the combination of the pattern stitch, the yarn, the needle size that works for you, it can come out almost like you don't need to block it.
Wow.
And other times that doesn't happen. And I've been doing this for years and I still don't know what makes that perfect combination.
I love the mystery of knitting. There's sometimes you just, no matter what, you can't get the gauge you want.
Right.
You know, and you can, you want to make a certain thing with a certain yarn, and sometimes once in a while it's just not ever meant to be.
Right. It's not the right combination.
So, yeah.
And it might be for someone else because they handle their yarn and needles a different way. And it's, and it could be the needles too. I have so many kinds of needles. I'm not a yarn junkie. I mean, I love yarn, but I don't stash a lot of yarn. It makes me nervous. So that makes me different than a lot of knitters. But I buy knitting books like crazy, and I love to try all different kinds of needles. So so that's my weakness: books and needles.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
This is really fun to talk to you.
And I think the Spittler chest
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go check
Definitely
that
go
out
look.
tomorrow.
I looked it up. It's hand painted, handmade by a man in Virginia, and I think it sold at auction for almost $400,000.
Oh my
A
gosh.
very rare piece,
Wow.
and just beautiful, sort of naive folk art.
I love folk art, and I think that's kind of, I mean, I love fashion design and some of the things, but for me it's all about folk art and the knitting. That's why I like it when people make up their own things too. Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, great. So I think you're in the right place to be stuck for a few days.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Donna.
Thanks so much.